Hello and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be taking you guys behind the scenes on the Warner Brothers Harry Potter tour in London and specifically into the shops. So a lot of you guys seem to like videos where I bring you along with me into some of the stores that relate to our favorite fandoms, and in this video I will be doing just that. So I have a separate video where I take you guys fully with me throughout the whole entire studio tour, so definitely check that out. It is quite a lengthy video. I believe it's around the 30 to 45 minute mark, closer to like 42 minutes or something like that. So it's a long one, but it is very definitive, like I say in the title, because I definitely show you guys from beginning to end the whole entire Harry Potter studio tour. There's obviously a lot for your eyes to see, for you to experience if you go on the tour yourselves. So I can't show you every single detail, but I think I do as close as possible to showing you guys in that video. Definitely go and check this out if you have the opportunity to do so. If you are a fan of Harry Potter, you will not be disappointed. They have done an incredible job in the studio tour to really bring the magic of the whole movie making process to us fans. They have preserved so many of the original sets, namely the Great Hall. Like, that was incredible. And it was just beautiful, magical, a truly amazing experience that I will forever remember and cherish. And in this video, I wanted to bring you guys along into the shops because, again, that's something that's also tied in to that whole experience. They have 3 shops, and I will include the timestamps here in case you want to, just jump to the good stuff. They have a Forbidden Forest shop. That one I think is relatively new, as the Forbidden Forest section is something that has opened, I believe, last year. So in 2017, that's when that section was opened. So there is that, the Forbidden Forest shop. There is a Platform 9 3/4 shop, which again, both of these are smaller. They're within the tour itself. So once you're in the tour is where you will basically come across these particular shops. You're going through the tour, experiencing some of the sets, some of the costumes, all of those types of things, and then there will be this shop that you can kind of go into as part of the tour and continue along with the rest of the tour. Then there is the main shop. So that one is at the very end. If you go early, you can actually go into it. So just off of the main kind of waiting area before you line up to go into the tour, you can go into the shop. And at the very end, obviously the whole entire tour leads you to the shop at the very end. All 3 of these stores are beautiful. They are themed to their specific sections, and the final shop has different themed areas around it. I found them to be really lovely, and I thoroughly enjoyed the shops themselves. I didn't buy anything because, you don't always have to buy something when you go into a gift shop, but I thought that they were just beautifully displayed stores. I love when your shopping experience and the visuals and everything that's around you really ties in together. I think that makes it for a very fun shopping experience overall. So I really appreciate what they did with the 3 shops that they had. Of special note, at least for me, I thought it was really touching that in the main shop at the end, the area where they have all of the books, they actually were using some of the props, so some of the bookshelves that they have in the films. So in the library that's in Hogwarts, those were the bookshelves. When I discovered that, I just had a bit of a, oh, this is so magical. It was just really nice to see that, to see them reusing the sets right there in the shop. So it becomes like an active embodiment of the history of the films into the future, right? So if you're interested in checking out the shops, then definitely watch this video. I will be back at the very end of it to take you guys through the official guidebook. So that is one item that was included with the specific ticket that I did purchase. So I can show you guys a little bit more of pictures and a bit more information about the studio tour itself. So if you're interested, then definitely see me at the very end, timestamp here, and we'll go through that. But without further ado, here are the 3 shops that you will be able to find at the Warner Brothers studio tour in London, the making of Harry Potter. I hope you enjoyed walking through the shops of the studio tour in London for Harry Potter. They, like I said in the beginning, they were just really magical shops. I think they did a really good job at integrating them nicely into the tour itself and just making them really cool visual experiences, really amazing to walk around and see all the little details that they had everywhere. They were just decorated really nicely, and I thoroughly enjoyed these shops. So I wanted to show you guys not just the studio tour guidebook. So this is the guidebook that you can pick up with certain tickets, and you can also just purchase this. This is a new edition because, of course, the Forbidden Forest section is something that they have recently added in 2017 to the whole Harry Potter studio tour. But I also wanted to show you guys the tickets. So the tickets that you can get with your purchase to attend the studio tour are lovely, and they have different, in this case they had different animals on them, particularly probably related to the Forbidden Forest and how that whole section has been added to the tour. But it all depends. I think you can get different relics, maybe even character images on your tickets, and I thought that was just really nice touch, because this is the kind of ticket then that you can keep as a really beautiful keepsake to remember your tour. And before we get into the guidebook, I will get into that, don't worry, I wanted to just mention though something really touching that happened when I was at the studio tour. So when we were in the theater, if you guys watch my vlog where I take you through the whole entire studio tour, I basically mentioned there that I started crying at one point, and I mean, it was just such an emotional moment. When you're in the theater, you first, when you go into the tour, I should say, you go into a small theater, they do a little blurb about, you know, how they first discovered the books at the particular publisher and how they wanted to bring the books to life and to film and all of that. Then they take you into a bigger theater where you sit down and you have the three main actors that played Harry, Ron, Hermione, to basically talk you through the movie making process and how it's just a huge team. It's not just the actors that you see on screen, but it's a huge team of so many dedicated people that go into creating films. And they basically walk you through some of the different departments and prepare you essentially for what you're going to experience in the studio tour. When they do that, now obviously spoilers, if you don't want to know this then skip a little bit ahead, but what happens at that moment once that little video is done is they raise the screen, and right there, you didn't know it, but heck, you're right there where the Great Hall begins. And I lost it at that moment because I was not expecting it. It was so magical for them to raise the screens, because in that moment on the screens what you see is the image of the Great Hall, the doors to the Great Hall. They raise the screens and then the Great Hall is actually right there. It was just beautiful. It was such a beautifully made moment with the music, with the visuals. The whole thing was just such a great experience. I was sitting in the back row, not expecting any of this, fully dressed in my Ravenclaw outfit. I mean, I was one of the few people that was in like full cosplay at that moment. So when I started crying and I'm starting to walk towards the door, one of the employees was so lovely and he handed me this. And honestly, in that moment, because I was just so in the situation of my emotions, I didn't even realize what was happening. My husband kind of took this from me as I just kind of collected myself. But then afterwards, I had a moment to really look at it. So thank you so much to the staff that are working at the studio tour. You guys are so dedicated. You really add to the experience that everybody has when they go on the tour, whether they give you a letter or not. They're just amazing staff members that work there. You can ask them so many questions and they're so knowledgeable and they're just lovely. You can see the happiness that they feel with working there, and they're not jaded by the experience. They're just really pleasant people, and I thoroughly acknowledge and appreciated all that you did. But this gentleman, he handed me this letter, and then, like I said, once I collected myself and I had a minute to really look at it, I couldn't believe what was given to me. So it is the Hogwarts acceptance letter that Harry receives. It's a replica of that. There's nothing inside, but I just think it is beautiful, and it's such a touching little keepsake that I can always look back on fondly. It will remind me of that moment when the screen lifted up and I saw the doors to the Great Hall. and I'm just so thankful. So thank you so much to everybody that works at the Warner Brothers studio tour in London, and everybody that went into thinking of the whole process of how to create this experience, because it was just so magical and I thoroughly enjoyed it and cannot recommend it highly enough. Really, if you have a chance, go check it out too. So now let's get into the book. So this is The Making of Harry Potter. This is the actual guidebook that you can pick up with your ticket, or you can purchase after the fact if you didn't actually select it along with your ticket at the moment of purchase. You can buy this in the gift shop as well. And in this book, what you're going to get is basically, I think, a really great encapsulated keepsake of a lot of what you experienced on the tour. So there's a lot of beautiful, high quality images of some of the sets that you're going to see on the tour, as well as very brief descriptions, but of like the actual movies relative to the sets that you see as well. You can see Hagrid's hut. That was one of the best sets that I saw. So much detail. Honestly, the Hagrid's hut set, you could just stand there and stare and look into every little nook and cranny and see all the mugs and all the random like rubbish basically that he has. He has a very busy looking house. Definitely a lot of stuff in there. All of the animals, so there's a really cute section in the tour where they have a video montage playing about the different animals and the animal trainers and how they work with their animals, as well as pictures of all of the different animals that portrayed our favorite characters within the film. So it's not just one animal actor, they have different ones, and I thoroughly enjoyed learning a little bit more about those animal characters and actors, as well as the different Horcruxes. So one cool thing to note is that you can find different versions of Horcruxes as well as other props. So they'll have different levels of props. The ones that are the hero props, as I remember them calling it, which is the ones that the characters or the actors themselves hold for close-ups. So these tend to be made of the real materials, much higher quality, have a heft to them so that when characters hold it, it really has that weight that it would in real life, versus other types which maybe are lighter for action sequences or for far away kind of shots where you need maybe less detail, but perhaps the colors need to be richer or other details need to be exemplified instead. So it was really cool to learn a little bit more about that element of the movie making magic. There's not just one version of each Horcrux in each of these items, there's multiple ones. The Malfoy Manor was one of the most impressive sets. I think here they did a really good job where as you're walking through the actual tour, the music adds like a somber tone, and you see the long table that they used in the Malfoy Manor. You see all of the characters seated there, and you see this poor victim essentially of Voldemort that's about to be killed by Nagini, and it's just absolutely terrifying. And it's beautiful how they've recreated that experience for you from the films. They have all of the characters and their wigs, and it was really cool too, the section with the wigs, to see that some characters that I didn't think were wearing hair wigs and prostheses and things like that actually did have those elements. So props to you guys in the hair and makeup department that maybe a lot of us didn't even notice there was hair and makeup involved with some of our favorite characters. They also gave us a little bookmark as well, which is really cute, and this one is for Hogwarts in the Snow, so definitely something that I will be cherishing and sticking into my Harry Potter books. The newest section of the tour is the Forbidden Forest section, and this one, I enjoyed it, but to be honest, I thought it was a little bit short. I wish that they had added more elements to it. Of special note was the Patronus dog that they had. So they had this animal, it kind of looked like a really oversized, unrealistic dog, to be honest, and they just strapped, it almost looked like a vest on it, and you had like this interactive element where you pressed a lever and the light turned on and it made the noise of a Patronus, but that really didn't look very photorealistic. I didn't even include it in the vlog because maybe I'll add a little image here so you guys can see. It was just a little bit disappointing. So in terms of the whole Forbidden Forest added area, it was cool. It was nice to see like the big Hagrid and to have the fog and the hippogriff, but overall it wasn't my favorite section of the tour, but cool nonetheless. they have the Hogwarts Express section. So this was one of my favorite sections because you actually got to walk through the train and see how they had set up different train, trolley, and carousel sections to different movies. I thought that was a really nice touch that these were just nicely decorated to reflect different scenes from some of the movies. The back lot, I think, was one of the best photo opportunity sections. So here you had the night bus, you had Privet Drive, you just had so much. The Hogwarts Bridge, that is like prime photography area right there. I absolutely loved this area. Be mindful though, you will be going outside for this section. So if it's very cold, if you're going in the winter, or if it's just a cold day in general, be prepared to skip outside. And if you're gonna be taking pictures, if you're planning to walk around that area, maybe make sure that you can keep warm while you're doing it. Don't be caught off guard, because not everything, like this section, is outdoors, but then you go back indoors for the rest of the tour. The creature effects section, which comes just after the back lot, so just after you go outside, you go back indoors and you go into the creature effects area of the tour. This was my favorite. Out of everything that we saw, I thought this was the best creation, the best laid out section of the tour. They had so many pieces of prosthesis, of creatures, of different elements from the films that you could just stand there, look around, look up, down, everywhere, and you will see something that you recognize from the films. It was beautiful. They had a lot of the masks for the different goblins. They had, you know, everything from Dobby to the dragons to Voldemort himself. They just had everything. It was really amazing, and that is one of the sections that I would say save up some of your energy. Definitely grab a snack at the backlot cafe so that you have enough stamina to really carefully walk through this area. They also have big screens that are showing really cool videos that talk about the creature design and creation process. So this is an area that I highly recommend you take your time with because it was really, really cool. Diagon Alley was another really cool section. It really was beautifully displayed. I absolutely loved it. The color, the vividness of it all was really gorgeous. If you've been to Orlando's Wizarding World of Harry Potter, you will have kind of experienced something very similar, but to like another level, because here you can't go into the shops, you can just walk through the area, and it's a little bit shorter than I would have expected it to be, but it was still amazing nonetheless to get to experience that and to see what the original exterior sets looked like while they were filming, and to see just how close all the streets were, and it was lovely. Definitely an area that I absolutely enjoyed. And the last section I'll talk about in this video is the castle itself. Oh my gosh, you guys, this was amazing. It was so beautiful, so detailed. It was extra special because I got to see it in the snow, so that was amazing. But nonetheless, I think that regardless what time of year you go in, it will just be such a magical thing to witness in person because it is the castle. So for a lot of the shots, instead of doing all CGI, they really used this model, and they have beautiful TV displays all around that area where you can click on different sections, see how they integrated the model into the filming process of the movies. So it was really cool that they used that they had a practical set of Hogwarts that they could kind of like film around it and then fill in backgrounds, fill in the characters in using all CGI and other kinds of filmmaking magic, but that they had a practical Hogwarts. Now, if I could only shrink myself down to tiny, tiny little size and live inside that castle, that would just be a-okay with me. But it was beautiful to see the Hogwarts castle, and it was just the beautiful ending to the whole entire tour. This is the last section that you will experience in the tour, so take your time with it, walk around, take a billion gazillion pictures like I did. The music that they're playing in the background is beautiful. It's just so evocative of all of the gorgeous emotion and everything that you experience while watching the films, all in one gorgeous end piece to the whole tour experience. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video where I take you along with me to the Warner Brothers studio tour, the Making of Harry Potter shops that they have in the tour itself, and where I also talk to you through a little bit of what happened during the tour by going through the book. It is a gorgeous experience. I cannot recommend it enough. I feel like I've said that a billion times in this video, so please do make sure to try to check it out if you have the opportunity to do so. And if you don't, or if you want to relive the magic if you've already gone, or if you want all the spoilers in the world, then check out my video where I take you through the whole tour itself. I will leave it linked down below in the comment section. So again, I do have a video where I take you with me through the whole entire studio tour and my experience of it, so check that out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and that one, and if you've enjoyed all of this and my channel, then please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!